was like, well, maybe NFTs might be a better way to help these artists. So a few months later, by the time we hit February of 2020, we started. We realized we had been studying the space, and we realized that the artists that were having the most success in the NFT space were artists that had community. They had a network of people around them that were willing to support them, engage them. Even if they couldn't buy their work, they were actively like reposting, sharing their work and their drops. And it was really I didn't really see that happening around Black artists and artists of color. And so our very first project, we set out to create that kind of environment for these kinds of artists. So I would say one of the biggest differences that I see now, a year later, is that there's so much more diversity in the NFT space. There's so many more women in the space, so many more Latino people in the space, Asian artists. Like, I really think that there's a lot of people that have been very intentional about trying to make sure that as many communities as possible have access to this space and are learning about its value. I've also seen the market go up and down. I've seen it go from like lots of activity, lots of people selling NFTs to it being like dead, like in artists like being very worried about, their ability to sell. I've seen ETH go from 1,500 up to 4,800 and back down. I mean, all these different cycles in such a short period of time. And but I also just feel like I still don't know what to expect, right? It's still so early, and we still don't know what the government's going to say about NFTs and crypto, right? The technology is still very immature, and, there's a lot of improvements to be made, so it's really hard to predict anything. But the one thing that I do feel strongly about is that NFTs are giving people the ability to monetize their intellectual property in a way that is really revolutionary. And I think that's the most important thing. And if you think about like inequality and, poverty and, the state of being that most people live in, sorry, this is so long-winded, but most people around the world don't have highly valuable physical property, right? Like they don't have real estate, they don't have stocks, they don't have, land. Most people around the world, what they do have is their intellectual property. They have their culture, their music, their fashion, their dance, right? No matter how poor a community is, they always have those things. And so I think what's really beautiful about NFTs is we're gonna see this renaissance of creativity, and we're going to see all sorts of communities being valued in a way that they haven't been valued previously. And so that's what's exciting for me.
Love it. Yeah, very well said. I love what you said about, valuing communities. I think with crypto, tokens, NFTs, whatever you want to call it, it's all kind of one big jumbled thing right now, but it really lets communities kind of organize themselves in ways that weren't possible to let the community members really get value, whereas before with like Web 2 you had all the value going up to Facebook and Twitter, but now the community can actually accrue that value. And also thank you guys for what you've done for the space so far. I do want to take a moment. I forgot we do have a few other artists who are part of this project who couldn't be here. They're asleep. They're in Europe and Africa, but I just do want to give them a shout out. Owo, Christopher, and Pamplemousse. Just want to give them a shout out, and they'll be on our website, and you'll be hearing more from them as well. But they're amazing artists who've been doing some great work and also some great charitable work, and we're very excited to have them be a part of this project as well. Brandon, I want to ask you, this is your first NFT, or you just started, dipping in the NFT space. Maybe what were some of your hesitations, and kind of what do you see as like the biggest promise of NFTs, for your type of work going forward?
Thanks for the question. I love what you had to say. I wish I could have had everything recorded. I'm like, oh man, I didn't catch you. Yeah, right. They got you. Right. Yeah, we good. So thank you for the question. What I say to that is that this isn't my first project. I did a project called The Creator, and I dropped that like the top of the year, and it was just a real good learning opportunity for me. I think that we live in an age and time with technology that a lot of things come and go, and there's a lot of like FOMO that exists in spaces, out in the world too. So I just want to make sure if I'm putting my energy towards something, that it's I'm doing it the right way, and in ways that like really complement the integrity of my work and don't compromise the integrity of the work that I'm already creating. So that's why I took my time. I think a lot of times these platforms pop up and everyone is trying to figure out how to engage with them too, and you just end up kind of doing things that don't speak to the work long term. So for me, that was important over the quick flip or the like quick like make this very real quick. So I went in with that intentional attitude about it, and I continue to bring those aspects of my practice to it, and I feel good about that. Then you had a second part of your question. What was the second part?
Yeah, so like, where do you see this going for you in the future?
Yeah.
Like, do you think this is, you know, what sort of mix do you think of NFTs versus physical versus maybe like combining them together? Kind of where do you see that going? And like,
I think the great thing about that is just that it's opening up imagination. It's opening up in the way and people are allowing themselves to engage with art. I am just by be, be getting in these conversations and understanding what the technology does and like what you can do and like in these with NFTs and with this type of interactivity is growing like how I'm thinking about things too, and it's expanding. And I'm also finding myself catch up with my child self, who had a lot of like these thoughts and a lot of these other things that I was trying to do, and I was trying to build my own comic book company when I was trying to like create my own universe. So a lot of those things which I forgot about or I like set to the side, I'm re-engaging, like I'm rethinking about how I think about art spaces, period. And I'm also thinking about how those things can connect. So I think a lot is possible for other people. And I think in ways where artists didn't see themselves existing successfully, now people see an opportunity, right? Because people see their capacity to maybe build community or what could come if you build a community around your thing, instead of thinking you need to fit into somebody else's box. I need to do these things to get into the gallery, or I need to make this toy because I want, to do this thing like Murakami. I want to experience some type of the same success, which isn't wrong. It's great to have like those inspirations, but I think people are kind of being able to see themselves in a different way, and um, uh, within themselves, negotiating that, changing perspectives, and like moving forward with a different type of attitude, with a different type of energy. So yeah, how about answer that?
that's great. I mean, yeah, I think what you said, like, one of the cool things about crypto and NFTs is the design space is like so wide open, right? It's like maybe 1% or 2% has even been like scratched at, and like probably 80% hasn't even been imagined. So it's like such a new paradigm and so much creativity, and that's why having like creators and artists in the space now with NFTs. Before it was kind of all finance bros, and they have their own types of creativity, but now you're having like having actual like artists and like people who are about social impact getting into the space. Like it just is opening up so much more of kind of that design space. So it's exciting to see how that's going to impact the world over the years. Daryl, I wanted to ask you. I know you're working on something slightly different than some of these other artists, doing like a generative collection, and being an animator and game designer. It seems like it's up your alley. But maybe you wanted to just hear your thoughts on like that process and what you think of doing the generative art collection. Some of your thoughts on that.
Well, first, I'm extremely new to the space. This is my first NFT project.
Sorry.
So when they first start explaining everything as far as I'm gonna be involved with NFTs, I had to start doing research. I had to Google, YouTube, and learn as much as I could about NFTs, what it is, how you create them, and so I think everything that I've been doing since I've started my career as a illustrator and designer, it meshed well with what the NFT space is. So for those of you that don't know, on the art side, NFTs, you have to layer different traits like hats and sunglasses and things like that. And the generative part different traits to create unique images. And so I've already been doing that in my animating side, where I have to layer my characters a certain way, and I'm
Sorry.
able to tweak the movement slightly. So when you look at the entire frame, you will see that it's moving, and that's what animators do. So we have to move, piece by piece, limb by limb, to give the illusion that it's actually moving. So it meshed well with the project, and it just came full circle. So I'm still excited about the NFT space. I'm still learning about it. I learned some things yesterday. Jalen and Dre, they were teaching me about some NFTs. I had no idea what it was, like what makes it valuable.
Oh, Dre.
Yeah, it was both of y'all.
I wonder where
So,
Kelly
like,
is
it was just putting
today.
me up on game, and because I always had the space. I mean, the thought of what makes NFTs valuable. Because I mean, I've been doing digital art since 2010, and for the longest, digital artists were looked at as um, not the lowest on the totem pole, but it wasn't as important as hyped as it is now, right? And so I love that NFTs has brought the attention to the space. I love that the hype and just the interest around digital art in general. But NFTs is going to be here to stay. Is bigger than art. It's going to be tied to almost anything that you can buy and sell. Real estate, any kind of contracts. That's where it's going. And so I'm just excited to be a part of the project and continue to learn.
Great, thank you. So this is supposed to be an AMA, so I want to open it up to the floor. If anyone has any questions, raise your hands and,
So I want to find out more about this ET verse. Like, what's that going to look like? What are the components? Will I be able to see the art in the ET verse? Will I be able to move around using the NFTs? And, is it going to be like going on vacation online and shopping and meeting people? I mean, am I imagining this correctly?
Yeah, you are. Can I ask a question? So Facebook, Twitter, would that be considered? Was that Web 2? So I came out in Web 2, right? Well, I'd always been out, and so I'm grateful for this space. And I do want to say this to you guys: you have to be careful when you say what is it going to be, because you get to decide what it's going to be, right? And that's important, because when you're young, I look at my son and the dynamics. We taught our children to be respectful, but then there's also this piece where you got to be a rebel, right? Because you can't be what everybody wants you to be if you're going to be who you're going to be. So Web 2 is where I came out, and unfortunately with Web 2, they made the decisions for you. So all of my content that has ever come out, I mean, you hear this generations talking about what I meant to them, but Facebook owns it. Twitter owns it, and they get to decide how to use it. I don't have ownership of that. So Web 3 is phenomenal, because it's like, wow, for the first time in you guys' space, you're going to actually own. And I don't know if you've seen, but there's this movement of, I saw MC Light was going after her masters, and just every artist from back in the day who were big, they don't own their masters. Somebody else owns their masters. And so Web 3 is like, yo, for the first time in life, nobody's going to get credit and make money off of your stuff without you having some say in that. So I think that's what's so special about it. And again, I look at myself. I mean, I speak and make six figures speaking, but man, what if I got just 1% of all the videos I've ever put out? Like, I didn't make any money off all the videos that are out, and people are using them however they want to use them. And there are times that they tell me I can't use it like that, and it's my stuff. Does that make sense? So I just want to say, you guys are going to decide what this space looks like, how long this space is going to live. And so for me, it's just taking everything I've ever done and putting it in one central location, and being able to decide what's the length, right? Because they even get to decide that. It's like Twitter decides, okay, it can only be so many seconds. TikTok decides it can only be so many seconds. They decide if something is 24 hours or if it lasts, your lifetime. And so, from my perspective, this is going to give us an opportunity to take everything I've ever done, everything we're going to do, and make decisions about the space that we're putting in, how people receive it, And so again, for me, yes. But everything you said, all the art, all the videos, I think somebody mentioned you gotta go to Spotify to get this. You gotta go over to Facebook and get this. If you want to hear that stuff that I did on YouTube, you gotta go YouTube to get that. Now we're just gonna take all of this and house it, you know, in one space, you know, in one territory. So all things us. And so again, for me, that's what I love about Web3. I got beat in Web2 to some extent. You know, it did make me popular, if you will. It did give, you know, me life that I didn't have when I was on VHS tapes and cassette tapes. I used to have a machine, and I'd take my master and sell them. This, of course, the internet has made it easier for me, but for me, it's about that ownership that I'm excited about and centralizing.
Let me see if you can hear it if I switch to the computer.
And sell them. This, of course, the internet has made it easier for me, but for me, it's about that ownership that I'm excited about and centralizing all of our content. Carter, I don't know if you guys want to speak to that.
Yeah, I'll speak a little bit too. And you mentioned, are you gonna be able to walk around in the ET-verse?
Excuse me.
Video game. So I think the metaverse. We'll see what that happens. But as E said, we're gonna build the metaverse. The way we want it to be. It's not gonna be Facebook's not gonna decide what the metaverse is, and Microsoft's not gonna decide. It's really gonna be the community is gonna decide what we want to make of it. And part of the roadmap, there is that the virtual reality metaverse that you read about in sci-fi and Ready Player One, Snow Crash. That stuff's coming. It's probably 5 years away, to be a reality. But we're building a very strong community in Discord. So Discord, for those of you who don't know, it's like a Facebook group, chat room on steroids. It's a really great place for people to come together and build community, build connections, and we are building a very powerful Discord group where people from all over the world. We have people from Australia, Nigeria, Europe, obviously the U.S. They're already. We haven't really been marketing it that much yet, but we've already got thousands of people in there, helping each other, sharing stories. Just coming together, and that's going to be a big aspect, and that's really going to be like the ET-verse. In the beginning, it's like it's that digital world, that digital community for people to come together, and
I'll check it on another
it
platform.
will be that virtual reality world where people are walking around. But stay tuned for more details on that part of the roadmap. But that's where we're going. Anyone else have any questions in the crowd?
Question for any of the artists that want to speak to it. We are talking a lot about community, and I know, Nico, you mentioned community inspires your work a lot, and I'm just as new as everybody else to the Web3 world, but the community for any of the projects are super strong, and it's one of the most appealing aspects of this world. And I'm just wondering, with this community that's eager to accept your work and will be built around your work, does that inspire you guys in a different way? Are you guys attacking projects in a different way? I'm just curious how that affects the work itself. Curious on anyone's perspective on that.
Well, for me, I'm just what I've been doing. So it's just practicing and perfecting it. Now it's like that time to shine. I was involved in sports, and we would say it's different lights. Like people perform in different situations, but when you in the gym and you practicing night in, day out, it's not a feel or inspiration. It's a purpose in a way. So I'm excited in the sense that what I've been trying to say, because I feel as if Web 2, it was a ceiling. And as an artist, I felt like I was trapped to just some things because of just how the pipeline was laid. Whereas Discord, it's like, I like to say, it's like a channel guide, to your whole vision, your imagination, your head. So now I can organize you as an individual. So I feel as if Tech 3 made me better because now I can organize and say, this is what in the morning, we can do quotes or whatever, like we do on our Dish channel. Dre, perfect community builder, and just in the FT space, we'll hear about him later, but he definitely helped me learn the space and move this needle. But to his help, I realized in Web 2, I'm not as organized, but I'm super talented. So Web 3, Now I got offense and defense, and so now it don't matter what lights, it don't matter what tournament, we here to stay. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. That was amazing, by the way. Sincerely, for me, I'm in community, and touch on it, and I kind of want to go back to one of the points why NFT is so important to me. Because as an artist, I've worked in advertising, I've worked in the music industry, I've done plenty of covers for musicians, and when it comes down to payment, you're the last to get paid forever. It'll take months, it'll take anything. The artist was always the last, second thought. You know, we have this project, we'll find somebody to do it. You know, if it's not you, we'll find somebody else. You know, so for me, looking at a space that is artist-led and creative-driven and really protecting the artists, protecting the people inside of this community is really important to me. And I think when you think about community as an artist, you think about your market. Who are you talking to? Am I talking to people in these galleries that, you know, jockeying for the same position, or am I talking to people around me? Am I speaking about my neighborhood, my upcoming, my people like me across the world? And that's what I think about in my work. I mean, that's the difference between, you know, Web 2 and Web 3 for me. It's, like you said, Jalen, there's a ceiling. There's, you know, there's an algorithm. We're jockeying for the same positions. It's already set for us, and we can only operate in this one cyclical motion of, like, you know, up or down.
If I hang up one of the hats, will that stop the
I
static?
think it's just important to really reach out and reach across. You know, not just reach out, but reach across to everybody and other artists and really work and build something. I think we have to really point of, like, the bedrock where it's not laid yet. It's not something that we can see it's already made and we feel timid about. This is something we are creating every moment, every day, and that we own, right? And ownership is really important. You said masters. I mean, you look at people now speaking out about Spotify, speaking out about iTunes. People, they can pay you 1 cent or even a percentage of a cent for each stream. You get nothing, and people just allow this to happen because it's like a rule. It's because it's like what other people are doing. It's that you think you can't. There are no other options. Not to ramble, but I just see, you know, as I'm learning in the NFT space, I'm also unlearning stuff that was put onto me and that I thought I had to do. So I guess that's the beauty of the space.
Okay, hey, and I had 2 questions. The first question was, you know, as a general user, like, you know, we have seen so many NFT projects come out. So what would be the top 1 or 2 reason why I should be part of the ETverse?
Yeah, so and this is why I'm super excited. So, again, I mentioned I attended a HBCU. So a big part of that was learning about my culture, my history. Earlier on, when I looked at the movement, you know, I saw marching, you know, I saw, you know, things of this nature. But as I studied Garvey more and Martin Luther King more, I realized that there was an economic component as well that I didn't understand when I was young. But as I got older, it's like, no. Martin Luther King wasn't just about being able to go to the same bathroom or drink from the same water faucet. It was also about economics, having an opportunity to make money from your intellectual property, right? And so that's the big part for me. A lot of people, you know, here they're talking about, you know, the videos. But what a lot of people don't understand is that I was instrumental, by the grace of God, of creating space for other motivational speakers. So now Inky Johnson is the speaker. Jeremy Anderson is a speaker. We were blessed to help Toby Nwigwe become a hip-hop artist. So now these individuals are making money, and they're able to take care of their family. So for me, the reason why I think it's important is because collectively we can do more together than we can individually. I have a platform. He spoke about integrity. That's one of the people follow me because they watch me for the last 20 years, and I don't sell stuff on my, not that there's anything wrong with it, but they know my page is about you and promoting you. So now when you put all this talent, all these years, all this experience together collectively, talk about Voltron times 10. So I believe the reason why you should come to the ETverse is because ET has never been about ET. I borrowed from Malcolm, from Martin, from Garvey. I borrowed from Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman went about herself. She got free and she came back and saved. So for me, this is a place where you're going to come and you're not going to be abused, not going to be manipulated. We don't want anything from you. All the money is going to the foundation, which our next trip, of course, the Super Bowl was the last one, but in December, I'm taking those same kids to Dubai. So this money is going to be for kids from the hood to go to a place like Dubai that was 50 years old and see what's possible when you have geniuses coming together. So that's the first one. Number two, I think you said it best. It is a place that's going to challenge you, personal development. It's a place where you're not going to come just for money. Because I teach people, you don't want to be one-dimensional. There are a lot of rich people who are hurting. There are a lot of influencers who are dark, right? So it doesn't, just because you make money doesn't make you, or just because I have a PhD, it doesn't make me better than my grandma. Like, I'm not a better human than my grandma because I have a PhD. I was just given an opportunity that my grandmother wasn't given. And so this is a place where you're going to come and grow spiritually, mentally, emotionally, financially, in your art. So I'm super excited because it is a place where you'll come as you are, but you'll leave better after you've been in that space. Yep, great question. Thank you. Yep, thank you.
I'm curious to know, as artists, have any of you thought about how? Let me back up for a second. I'm very new to learning about NFTs and crypto and that sort of thing.
Let me check the
and I've
sound
kinda
on
gone
my
down a rabbit
Facebook.
hole. And I know for a lot of people, all of these new concepts are
It's okay
challenging,
there.
and people don't necessarily connect with it, and people are struggling to understand. Anytime I say NFT now, people kind of glaze over. And so I'm curious whether, as artists, have you all thought about, beyond the work that you're creating, how you will evangelize the message to help future generations, to help other young people, other up-and-coming artists, not only learn about the space, but also be able to enter. One of the things I hear often, on these kinds of conversations, I was on a Clubhouse conversation the other day, and somebody said, I don't even understand how to enter. I'm an artist, but I don't even know where to start. And so I'm wondering if you as artists are thinking about that and how you use your power for good in that way.
Yeah, I like to speak to that. So in the beginning of Clubhouse days, when, what was that, like 2021, during the 2020? Well, no, yeah, it wasn't even that long ago, but it feel like so long ago, like 5 years or something. So in the beginning, we were on there just connecting with people, building conversations, and a friend of mine, Julian, started this room, How to Make It as an Artist. So we would go in this room and we would just talk about it from our experience, like knowing people at a bunch of different levels. Some people kind of don't know where to go, but really sharing gems with them. This is how you negotiate. This is how you do this. This is how you this is how you do that. And he turned the room into how to make it as an NFT artist, because he saw that NFT was trending. And the room started from us having questions, just having questions about how to do these things, and finding a space to attract people to kind of start talking about that, getting other people's understanding of what that thing is. And then these other people would just come into the room. Other people were artists, like Keith Grossman from CEO of Time was coming in. And all these people started chiming in. So you started like attracting, those folks who can speak from their experience and continuing to build. And I think very early you kind of saw that in the beginning. So my whole kind of take on like being in this space is about that too, like having a conversation and not being able to understand that our perspectives from our experience might greatly differ from somebody else's, and some things they might struggle with, you might have an easy answer to, right? But you would never know if you didn't talk. And that conversation builds energy and builds momentum. So, I've been looking at that since the very beginning. And a couple of weeks ago, I did like a intro to NFTs at the first NFT gallery in Chicago called I'm Not Art. It was about onboarding people and letting other artists know what they can do with this technology, just introducing people to it, because there's a lot of misinformation. There are a lot of other people somebody always speaks down new technology when it comes out. It happened with the TV, it happened with the internet, that's just how people work, and that's what it is. Some people are going to be in the game to talk bad about the new stuff coming out. If y'all haven't seen that Larry David commercial for FTX, perfect example. It was a brilliant campaign. So doing those things are really important to us, and I hope that Also, like I work with Ebony. I just did a cover for Ebony for February. Thank you. Appreciate it. So, like, I plan on onboarding Ebony into Web3, onboarding these other organizations, because a lot of times, like, our organizations, our publications are the last folks to figure out. When I spoke to the editor at Ebony, she's like, we've been trying to figure that out. So, also doing things like that to connect more people and connect the dots, and also so people can have at least the language to be able to speak to it and do things like that, we find are really important. So that's how I would say, and invite anybody in this space to join virtually or IRL. Hopefully we're doing these things in multiple places. High Park Art Center is a place where I want to do it next. It's like the studio. So, I want to do one for the artists there because they have a bunch of questions. But yeah, I'm in there.
I think it just starts with education, education and information. Information and the access to information is what separates people, right? And so if you have access to certain information, you can go to different levels. And so I just think that learning about it, me as an artist, I have to learn as much as I can about it so I can, bridge that gap to someone that may not be as savvy or they may not, know how to research and things like that. I want to be that bridge to kind of be able to explain those things to, like, my family, my dad. I had to explain to my dad when I first told him I was joining the project. He was like, what is an NFT? So it just started with, trying to educate myself as much as possible. And so that's why I had to, reach out to Dre and Jay to explain it to me so I can better be able to explain it to others. So I think it just started with education.
I got a conference of about 8,000 people in May. I just thought we did.
Yeah. I'm real glad just to be included in this group. I'm a lawyer. I can't remember the last time I was in a group with so many artists. And so I'm learning an awful lot. And I'm hearing the artists all talk about, how they've had to learn about the technology. I get it, and I respect it much. But NFTs are sort of like where computer science meets art. It's a two-way street. So maybe this is for Iris. Is that your name, Iris? Yeah, because you're kind of sort of where, the computer science meets the art in the work that you do in Atlanta.
Thanks, you.
how's the reverse of that? I mean, do the engineers learn as much about the artistic expression as they need to know in order to do their jobs right, to help these folks express themselves fully and be as creative as possible? Because it's a different part of the brain, really, computer science versus artistic expression. And I'm hearing a lot of artists saying, yeah, I had to learn that technology, but do the technologists learn the art?
Super interesting question. Also, to expand on what you've said, I think NFTs are an intersection of art, technology, and finance, which is like super fascinating. But when it comes to the tech, I think that the industry has provided a lot of tools for artists to use to simplify the process. So there's a lot of NFT marketplaces where artists can go and upload their artwork, and the marketplace essentially turns the artwork into an NFT for them and provides the kind of interface for them to be able to list their artwork for sale and process bids and things like that. And so I think that from working with a lot of these different marketplaces, what I've seen is that these teams are usually a mixture of artists and technologists, and so there's a lot of feedback that's going into developing the features. What we've also seen is that depending on the type of, what we've also seen is that as more types of art come into the space, it's been more clear that the technology was initially created for a certain type of art. So for example, digital art was kind of the primary art that a lot of these marketplaces were made for. They weren't really made for art that has a lot of collaborators, right? So if you have, music, for example, usually sometimes there's like 20 people collaborating on a song. These platforms are not really designed to facilitate that kind of art. Also, if you look at, for example, like film, short film, and things like that, a lot of these platforms cannot carry files that are that large. So I think that what we're seeing is that, yes, the technologists are having to really kind of expand their minds, and the product managers and, leaders at these companies are really having to dig deep and think about, like, how do we include all art forms and all types of artists in this space.
That's good. That's good.
I just wanted to ask that you've built an amazing community in Web2. Like, you have so many followers on YouTube, Facebook, and you've built like amazing community and an environment on Web2. So I just wanted to know, like, how would Web2 Etiverse would translate to Web3 Etiverse? Like, how do you see that coming through?
Is that for me? I always want to make sure, because you can tell y'all, you're pretty, as you were asking me that question, I just thought to myself, like, wow. When I would go to my grandmother's house, she had a picture of Dr. Martin Luther King. And that was big for them. Like, my grandma, like, they all, my older great aunts, like, Martin Luther King was like that thing back in the day. And so digital art's just really the same, but they had those pieces. And then they all had the prayer of serenity. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody had the prayer of serenity in their bathroom, right? My grandma had that on there, right? But for my grandmother, it was having a piece of Dr. Martin Luther King, right? And I wasn't alive when he was, I wasn't alive when he was doing his thing, but he was alive to us because they had this art, and everybody that met him had a picture of him, or he went to their college, so they had. And so I think for me, when I think about these young people, it's like, wow, this is really the next level to my legacy. Like, them creating pieces for people who've always wanted a part of ET, but all you had was videos, right? And you're not gonna take a video and put the video, but now there'll be different type of pieces that they'll have digitally, because grandma, unfortunately, you're going back and forth in the bathroom with the little grandkids, they tore those pictures up, so they weren't safe, right? Martin Luther King got destroyed, right? Because people throwing stuff at it, whatever. With the digital now, it's secure. It was actually in your office the other day, and your pieces were on the wall, but digitally. So it's like nobody can steal it, nobody can destroy it. And I grew up with baseball cards, so I used to love my little baseball card. But people could take them, and it's like, even though I paid for them, they're yours. With this new space, something that you love is yours, and you get to hold on to it forever, and nobody can take it, nobody can destroy it, and then you can pass it on. So for me, I'm seeing my community go, all these years we wanted something that we could have of you, a picture or whatever, and I wasn't into that. Matter of fact, I had one little thing that I had, like a marketing piece, and my wife was like, that's a graven image, take that down, so I'm like, that's not a graven image, it's marketing, what I'm saying? And so a lot of people have been calling me saying, we can't wait till these pieces come out, because we will have a part of you in our home. We show your stuff to our kids, and so for me, making it more personable, it's like it's yours now. Everybody can get a little piece of whatever is important to them. They can go get a little piece and own it, and have it. And I guess I'm super excited because every time it sells, like if it sells once, okay, of course they make money off of it. But then if somebody else sells it again, they make money off of it again. And then they make money off of it again. Where traditionally, after the first time, that's it. Like, you don't profit off of what you made. Whoever bought it, they profit from it. So it's just, again, it's ownership. It's personal. People can have a piece of it and own it. So I'm super excited. I've seen maybe not a lot, but a couple of the pieces. And, man, it's blowing my mind just to see. We had a conversation earlier. He was like, E, you have no idea how you affect these last couple generations. And I don't. But with their art, it's actually giving me a chance to see, like, whoa, I am important to this generation by the work that they're doing and what they're creating for me. So that, to me, that's what Web3 is. It's taking something that we've done forever, crystallizing it, and making it, and just to be in the same conversation. That's what kids, when they, man, and I'm like, wow.
Are you following me, Jay-Z?
So Web3 for me is just like, it's unbelievable to think that there's another level to what we've been doing after the last 20 years. Thank you.
So I want to, we got to wrap up a little bit, but I want to give a shout out to our Discord community. I know we had a couple questions from Discord. So one question that came from Discord is, where do you see this space, for non-artists, non-programmers? So, the idea people, like, how do you see, maybe this question, maybe Carter, you might be able to answer this. Where do you see, Web3, how do you see people who, may not be programmers, may not be artists, may not be financial people, but have ideas? How do you think they can take advantage and really get involved in this space?
ETverse. That's where it's going to be an amazing place. I think we're talking about a lot of different things. We're going to do what the community wants, and I think a great example of that is Jalen and I were talking about mental health, and really wanted to do a mental health channel. But when we talked to Dre, we talked to some of our interns. One of the things we learned about Discord is it can be very overwhelming quickly. Right, so we wanted to make it very simple and then build the community as we move forward. Well, one of the things the community wanted on day 2 was a mental health channel. So we put in that mental health channel, and that's helping a lot of people. It's a safe place to be, right? So we plan to build more channels. Whether you're an entrepreneur in real estate, maybe you're starting a vacuum company, whatever it is, this is a place to be. You're going to be able to connect with other entrepreneurs, other people that are in the beginning stages, the middle stages, late stages of their career, will be able to help you. And that's what this space is really about. It's doing things like that. And I'm just so excited to watch this community grow. Our goal is, in a lot of Discord communities, they have 100,000 followers, and there's only 3 remarks. I would rather have 10,000 followers and have 6,000 of them active on a daily basis. We really want to build this community from the ground up organically. We're in a marathon. We are not in a sprint here. And I'm just, like I said, I'm so grateful to be part of this project, working on this project. But whatever the community wants is what we're going to build.
And to piggy off of that, definitely just from an example from being in Discord, I'm new to it, but again, Dre put me on, and he did a live stream, and within that live stream, he was just kind of editing and doing his thing for a project he was doing with a vase, and somebody was like, yo, what's that? What are you doing? So I think it's all about moments. That's what we're about. Whether it's Super Bowl, whether it's Dubai, we're all about moments here and creating moments to help better, make purpose popular, but it's all about moments. Like, who knows? I just jumped in there, and we teamed up, and I learned some new things. Like, as the person who designed the whole, not designed, but knew about the life. So it's just like, I'm in there and learning new things. It's all about moments, creating moments. And I think that's why Web3 is dope, because you could create moments as a community, and you could put the ribbon that you want to put, instead of having to compromise, like, man, okay, at least it is a ribbon. No, I want the red one, and it's going to be that. So that's why I like it. It's all about moments.
Very well said. And I think, the other thing is, we're going to focus a lot on education inside the Discord. I think, Web3 and crypto is going to be pervasive throughout, all aspects of society and business, and even stuff that we don't even know yet. So to the question Twice had about, how to get involved as an idea person, I think, get educated, do your research. We're going to be posting a lot of content in there. And then, let your imagination go wild, because it's not, it's not only for finance, it's not only for art, it's not only for technologists, it's really for everyone. We're starting to see a lot of charitable stuff, which we're going to be focused on. So if that's something that's interesting to folks, there's ways that Web3 can really help with that. We're working with people in the archaeology industry. You wouldn't think, what does Web3 have to do with archaeology? But, there's ways to apply that to that. So really anything, any ideas you guys have, and, that's what the Discord's for, people sharing ideas, people learning together, learning from each other, and, really building the stuff organically from the ground up. I think Nico said it really well. He's like, it's just the bedrock right now. Nothing's been built. We're all building this together. The ETverse, it's not, it's not me, it's not Carter, it's not Eric, it's not Jalen. We're not the ones, we're building it, but we're not building it alone. We're building it with all of you guys on YouTube, all of you guys on Discord, everyone up here on stage, and, hopefully, many more people around the world.
Yeah, one more thing. I want to talk about next steps for the artists.
Yeah. I was just before we end, I wanted to see if we can focus and talk about what they're up to next, and then maybe also the next ETverse event. If you have anything tentative plans, just so people, like here, we know what's coming next.
Yeah, for sure. So, I'll give the artists a kind of a closing statement, and you guys can maybe, discuss a little bit about, what you're working on, whether it's for the ETverse or something else. But, in terms of what we're doing with the ETverse, just some updates for everyone. We are going to have a couple of very interesting Twitter Spaces coming up next week. On Tuesday, we're going to be speaking with, E is going to be speaking with Tyrone Ross, one of the leading, voices for, crypto. He used to be CEO of OnRamp Invest, African-American entrepreneur of a tech company. And, him and E are going to be talking about financial inclusion, Bitcoin, crypto, and how it really can help with financial inclusion. The following day, we're talking with, Richard Sherman, Sheldon Day. A few NFL players have a very interesting Web3 company, also focused on financial literacy, financial inclusion, things of that nature. So we're going to be speaking with them. They are very excited to partner with this project as well. So they're doing some really interesting stuff. And we'll be releasing more details on the roadmap. For those of you wondering, we will be doing a mint. The artists will be, releasing works, works as part of this project. And, as my partner Carter likes to say, this is the year of utility. So, these NFTs, they're not, the art is going to be, a major piece of utility, but we're also going to have, a lot of surprises and a lot of interesting utility packed in. So stay tuned for that stuff. The roadmap will be coming very soon. But, I think right now we want to really focus on, the artists for the next few weeks. So, to all the people online, jump in the Discord, follow us on Twitter, ETverse NFT, Instagram, and, we're going to be sharing a lot more of our artist stories because, with all these amazing artists, 1 hour isn't enough to really get all the details. But, let me, let's do, we got to wrap this up. I think people are getting hungry. We have a dinner plan. So I'm going to let, all the artists just kind of, do a closing statement. So starting with Nico.
I'll make it quick. Again, I just want to say I appreciate being here. I'm excited for the ETverse and how it unfolds and to see everybody's work, be a part of that space. I want to say the future is truly right now. We are really creating the future right now. There shouldn't be no, fear of the unknown because we're creating it right now. So I feel like, as long as we're together and doing it, then we all good. I don't really know what else to say. Yeah, so I'm going to hear y'all say it.
I'm going to keep mine short too. A little glimpse on the pieces that I actually already finished them. I did 3, and they're actually titled I Can, I Will, and I Must. So it's super crazy. I'm super excited for you guys to see it, and yeah.
That's what's up.
Sweet. Also want to say thank you again. Thank you for your time. I was just sitting here quietly absorbing everything. Like, I feel like my mind has expanded what it means to be translating from Web 2 to Web 3. Also just learned those 2 terms today, so thank you. As far as what I'm working on next, mural season is starting, so I have like a new mural coming up every month up until the fall. You guys can connect with me online at Garden of Journey. Shameless plug, that's my Instagram and my website. A lot of my work is community informed. I specifically work outside of the arts districts and into communities that don't have art, don't have inspiration. My mantra is progressive settings inspire progressive thinking. So I really want to bridge more equity when it comes to art, inspire more young girls, young black girls to pick up a brush or pick up a software and just kind of create the worlds that they want to live in. So yeah.
Coming up, I want to say thank you. Thanks for the panel, man. Thanks for, and then also thanks to Ruben for the initial invite around everything, man. I appreciate you, bro. I'm doing an exhibition that's opening on April 8th at a Blanc Art Gallery in Bronzeville. So that's the next main thing. It'll be open from then until May 24th. There's going to be programming that happens in that time, meditations, some workshops, some other things that we're planning right now. But that's what I have coming up next. And then directly after that is my ET drop, is what we planning. So that's what I have coming up.
So I want to give a shout out to the other artists on the project because, as I said, I have a studio, so I'm the creative director on this artwork. We also have an animator named Jalen, who's doing the animation. We have a song as well that's being featured, and the producers are in the back, Gerald and Sandeep, and also the vocalist Star Alexander, who's in Miami. So it's a big collaboration going on here. We're super excited. And in terms of what's next for us, we have a number of NFT projects in the works. We're really focused not on creating NFTs, but on creating art and selling that art as an NFT. In the art itself, for us, we wanted to empower people and be impactful and tell meaningful stories. And so we have a bunch of other projects in the works, and I'm excited to roll those out.
Congratulations. That's it.
Hi everyone. Me, another one sitting quietly, just absorbing everything. I loved everything that everyone had to say. I dipped my toes into NFTs last spring and then kind of took like a backseat, and so this is actually me being reintroduced into the NFT world. So this is the biggest thing I have going on right now is this project and just pondering the piece that I want to work on, which will be like animated. I do like motion art, very space themed. It's kind of where my inspiration is drawn from, but I'm really excited and, getting into Discord. I expressed to Carter that I have social anxiety and I'm very much very quiet, and that was one of the things that kind of held me back before, but now, the weather's getting nicer and I'm getting inspired again, and so I'm ready to kind of just get back into it and talk to people and get to know, a lot of wonderful artists.
And for me, I'm just gonna continue to work on the generative pieces. So I'm doing the 10,000 generative art for the NFT project.
Go crazy.
Exactly.
Not easy.
So we, me, Jay, Carter, Nate, we've been, just putting our minds together and just trying to see what is going to be the best look, best vibes for the art. So we'll be working on that more, fleshing out the project over the next 2 weeks. Cause I think it's dropping in April, right? And so, and after that, I'm gonna step into being a business owner role. I already have an animation studio that I've been running for 3 years. I've been doing everything myself. I mean, wearing 10 hats, doing all the art, the animation, the design, everything. So I'm gonna step into the business owner role and start hiring people. And I got a couple of intellectual properties that I want to get off the ground for kids, and I want to begin to pitch it to Netflix and Nickelodeon, Prime, studios like that. So I'm gonna put together a team so we can get that off the ground this year.
Amazing. Go crazy. And I want to give Daryl a shout out, and everyone, please visit our website. It has it coming soon right now. It's etverse.io, but the amazing picture on there, Daryl, he did that in half a day or something, but it's really cool. Very proud of you, Daryl, and thankful for what you did. So, there will be a lot more information on the website, in a week or so, but take a second, everyone, to take a look at that amazing drawing that Daryl's done.
I just want to thank everyone for being here today. I really appreciate all the artists here. I also want to give a special thanks to Nate. Nate is like our CJ. He never says anything. He's very quiet in the background. He is amazing. He is diligent. He is an incredibly hard worker, and without him, none of this would be possible as well. So thank you, Nate, for working on this with us. We really appreciate your support.
Shout out to Nate.
All right, let's go get dinner.
That said, we can maybe take some pictures. We'd love to get some pictures with you guys. I learned a new term from Sonia a couple of days ago called step and repeat. So we got to step and repeat if anyone wants some photos. There's a bunch of cookies. Feel free to take some home. And thank you again, everyone, for being here.
Thank you.
Step
Alright, how many people are here? Oh yes, I can't tell unless I open it in another window. Maybe Habs can fix that on the studio so you can see how many viewers you have without having to open another window. Alright.
Estranged wife of former Portland Timbers player Andy Polo. According to police reports, Polo was issued a citation after an alleged domestic violence incident.
I'll leave this on right now in
2021.
case anyone else wants to come in and say hello. What does the number 2 mean?
Timbers representatives came to her home and pressured her not to press charges against the
2
midfielder.
notifications.
We don't know who made this recording, but in it, we hear from the Timbers head of security and an unidentified woman. It's not clear who she works for. The woman describes
Let me
resources
finish checking
available
my
to the
game.
alleged victim of domestic violence, including transportation, shelter, and food. She also explains through an interpreter the charges against Polo and how a criminal case could play out or be avoided.
That goes to the district attorney's office. And then that office may call you to see if you want to pursue those charges. And again, you can say, yes, I want to, or no, I do not. Of course, we're hoping you say, no, you do not.
Who's the woman?
The Timbers declined to comment on the recording until after a review by
Can't hear him.
the accusation of domestic violence led to the termination of Polo's contract by the Timbers last month.
Yeah, but who is the woman?
His wife is suing him in federal court, and today her lawyer sent a letter to the Timbers suggesting there may be other defendants in the case, including possibly the team, executives, or other lawyers involved.
Kyle, thank you. There are staffing shortages in many industries right now, and
including the Justice Department.
Exception. We found out that our area is so strapped for public defenders, it's slowing down the entire justice process. Catherine Cook
And
takes a
letting
look
people
at the
out of
bigger
jail
picture.
with no trials.
The
Because there's
city
no
of
public
Portland
defenders.
is growing, recovering, and in many ways, thriving. It's also dealing with a lot of crime. From stolen cars and graffiti to gunfire and more homicides than the city has ever seen. Some people arrested are repeat offenders. Take the suspect in last month's kidnapping case in Northeast Portland. Justin Manuel Hill is accused of stealing a car with a 3-year-old in the back seat. Court records show that when Hill was arrested, he had several open charges, including 3 car thefts in the last year alone. It begs the question,
What the
why
hell's
are
he not
chronic
doing in
repeat
jail?
offenders allowed to walk in and out of jail before their trial, often putting the public at risk? A peek at the presiding judge order offers the short answer. Suspects are evaluated on risk, but typically only the most serious felony charges keep people in jail pre-trial. It took a kidnapping charge to keep Hill behind bars. For others who don't meet that criminal threshold, it's usually back on the street.
We can't keep people in jail prophylactically.
Why the hell not?
Violation of their rights.
This case Cheryl Albright is chief criminal judge for Multnomah County Circuit Court. She points out the system has always worked that way. What's different now is the wait between arrest, release, and trial is longer.
It's everything. It's the pandemic. It's staffing shortages. It's lack of resources. You can't keep someone in custody for an extended period of time without a court-appointed attorney. That just is a constitutional crisis.
Which brings us to perhaps the most complicating factor of all right now in Oregon's criminal justice system.
There aren't enough
a
public
shortage of public
defenders.
and extreme case overload.
There are maybe 150 people or so who have been in RAIN in the last several weeks who have not been able to receive appointed counsel because we don't have enough court-appointed attorneys to appoint them.
Cases have been dismissed because of the lack of representation, because it is constitutionally required.
Carl McPherson is executive director of Metropolitan Public Defender, the state's largest
Told you
provider
so.
of public defense services. On Monday, they started a 4-week pause on accepting new felony or misdemeanor appointments in Washington County, except for existing clients. And in Multnomah County, they haven't been accepting new minor felony appointments since January 10th. For reference, most auto thefts are minor felonies.
We do the work because we want to help people, and to know that there are people who are not receiving our services or our help is extremely painful for everyone doing the work.
McPherson says pausing on new cases wasn't a choice. He cites a 2007 Oregon State Bar opinion. It says they must refuse to accept a workload that prevents them from meeting their ethical obligation to each client. McPherson says attorneys are already working 40 to 60 hours a week on current caseloads.
It's not justice to assign an attorney to a case that they don't have the time to actually invest in representing that individual.
According to McPherson, this problem had been brewing long before the pandemic and will take years to fix. He points to a national study by the American Bar Association. Based on caseloads of the last 4 years, it found Oregon has 31% of the public defenders needed to represent clients, a deficit of 1,296 lawyers. Recently, Oregon lawmakers earmarked $12.8 million for the Office of Public Defense Services. That's enough for 36 more lawyers.
So 36 more lawyers is 2.7% of what we actually need, but it is at least a step in the right direction.
It's a long and complicated answer to what many perceive as that revolving door justice system, a system that, like the scales of justice, is striving for stability.
And so we're trying to balance a system that's not currently balanced.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
City leaders in Beaverton plan to open a new homeless shelter. In 6 minutes, their visit to a Portland shelter as they look for guidance. But first, a Portland commissioner speaks out on the homeless crisis, saying that part of the blame lies with the city's dysfunctional government.
I'm Matt Safino. Take you up to Mount Hood. It's been some really dramatic clouds over the top of the mountain there, and they're telling us something. They're telling us it's about to get stormy, even down here in the valleys. 43 degrees, wind's not bad at Timberline right now, but they will be as we go to tomorrow night. We've got winter weather advisories and high wind warnings to break down for you.
Traffic on the 7s, FM News 101, KXL.
Audi Wilsonville, where you take control. Custom order the Audi of your dreams and reserve it from Ford inventory. Your trade has never been worth more. We'll give you an appraised value and buy it outright. Buying, selling, or trading. Your smartest choice is Audi Wilsonville.
This is my first time trying on glasses at home. So cute! 5 different frames to Warby Parker.
Oh, this one's better.
Ooh.
The virtual try-on is perfect. Like, they look like they're on my face. Like, look at this. Just swipe and switch.
These are definitely a keeper.
I think these are the one. Ooh, these look good.
Let's see who's broadcasting.
So fun and fabulous.
Nobody I know. All right.
At Fred
Let's
Meyer's,
check my
every
farm.
free pickup order is picked fresh and packed with care, or we'll make it right. We're fresh every day, so shop anyway. Fred Meyer, fresh for everyone.
Save thousands on the new revolutionary swim spa at a one-time sale.
Today through Sunday.
Clark County Event Center at the fairgrounds. Exercise with low impact. Swim the entire year and stay in shape. Teach your kids to swim. Unwind and save thousands. Avoid the expense and maintenance involved with a pool. Swim, exercise, and relax in your new aquatic exercise swim spa. Installation and 1 day only. New 2022 inventory. 18-month interest-free financing. Millions of dollars of inventory must be sold. Clark County Event Center at the fairgrounds. Free admission. Call 1-88-SPA-SALE.
Fall in love with cooking all over again in our newly remodeled live Wolf and Sub-Zero kitchen. At Standard TV and Appliance, you can try before you buy. Discover the power and finesse only Wolf can bring. And experience unparalleled food preservation and freshness up to 20% longer with Sub-Zero refrigerators. Stop in and see what you've been missing. Standard TV and Appliance. Best service, best selection, best people.
At Rivermark, we believe that no one should go hungry. That's why we're proud to support the KGW Great Food Drive. Throughout March, stop by any Rivermark branch and donate cash. Please, give with your heart.
Thank you, Oregon. Come in and celebrate our 27th anniversary with incredible deals for you.
Relax, rejuvenate, and restore with a free massage chair when you take home any split head mattress set. Natural latex, Italian memory foam, the number bed by instant comfort and smart life.
Get health and wellness 24/7 with the benefits of FlexHead technology.
Plus a free massage chair for your personal relaxation and Improve your health and wellness during our 27th anniversary sale. It's not too late to sleep like a baby at Mattress World Northwest.
Have you forgotten how to smile or lost the ability to eat? Is your mouth full of infection? I'm Dr. Lambie, and Teeth in 24 will change your life in just about a day. Teeth in 24 transforms your teeth and smile quickly so you can get back to being you.
Portland is in the process of reevaluating its form of government. A commission deciding what should change listened to hours of public testimony last night. Many saying one thing is clear: what the city's doing right now is not working. And that includes at least one member of Portland City Council to weigh in on that. Pat Horace reports.
Portland City Commissioner Mingus Mapps certainly thinks that Portland's form of government really needs to change. I talked with him about the issue, and he laid out why having each commissioner and the mayor in charge of specific city departments just does not work when it comes to big issues like homelessness.
If you are camping in a park, that becomes a parks issue, which is Commissioner Rubio's portfolio. If you're camping on a sidewalk, that becomes a Peabody issue, which is in Commissioner Hardesty's portfolio. If you to just make the contact with the houseless community, that's our impact reduction team, which is in the mayor's office. So if you want to work with a camp in a park, you basically have to get the entire city council on the same page with an operational plan for how to move forward. And that just takes hours and hours and weeks and months of work. It's a crazy way to run a city, and it's one of the reasons why Portland underperforms on everything from homelessness to permits time after time.
We expect the commission studying this to have a recommendation in the next 2 weeks, and we'll of course keep following it and let you know what happens. We're taking a lot of deep dives on all sorts of issues like this on The Story at 6 o'clock. I hope we'll see you there.
And that was our Pat Horace reporting. For a more in-depth look at how Portland's government works, you can check out The Story on our KGW YouTube page. Okay, it's time to take a look at our forecast on this Friday afternoon. Lots of sunshine.
When's it going to
today,
start
but
raining?
We have rain in the forecast, although I don't even honestly want to think about that, because look at these beautiful shots. Look at Mount Hood here.
It's been so good these
Right?
last couple days, right?
I don't want the rain back.
I know, but you know, it is still winter after all.
I know.
So we're due, and if we didn't get any rain, we would start to fall behind in our March rainfall.
That is true. We don't want a bad fire.
Nobody
season.
wants that,
Nobody
right?
wants any bad. I get
So,
it.
let's take you outside right now. There's Timberline. I am rolling a time lapse on this. There was a fantastic lenticular cloud over the top of the mountain just a bit ago, and there's a new one forming right here, right now. See that? So this one wasn't here like 5 minutes ago. And that's the 20-degree change because they were
Are we back?
Yesterday morning, too. We had temperatures below freezing over on the Oregon coast as well. And the change is pretty palpable. I mean, look, we're running 11, 12 degrees warmer than 24 hours ago. It really warmed up this afternoon. Eugene, a whopping 16 degrees warmer than they were at the same time yesterday. And we'll show you the high temperatures in just a bit as well. So here's satellite imagery, and you can see the rain off the coast of Vancouver Island right now. It's going to take until tomorrow afternoon, roughly about 24 hours for us to get into rain. But there's going to be a major shift as we get this system coming on in and break down this area of high pressure that's been over us for a long time. So with that in mind, we've got a winter weather advisory up in the Cascades. That begins tomorrow night and extends all the way into Sunday afternoon. So it's about to get really snowy up in the Cascades, and a high wind warning on the coast for Saturday night into Sunday morning, where the gusts are going to be upwards of 60 to 65 miles an hour. So suddenly, it just gets really stormy again here in the Northwest. Now, tonight, not a problem. tomorrow, you can see the wind lines. Look at those arrows just zipping from south to north. The color, the orange, indicating stronger winds. This is tomorrow, 10 a.m. We're still dry. In fact, might even have some clearing. But when the rain arrives, you'll know, because it's going to get rather heavy Saturday night and into Sunday morning. And then suddenly there's a ton of snow in the Cascades there. But by Sunday night, that system is washing out, moving away. The new ones will be coming in as we go into Monday and Tuesday for more rain. So rainfall totals through the week will, I think, be at least an inch here in the Willamette Valley. Our high today, as I said, we warmed up to 62. How about that? Felt good. 60 in McMinnville, 60 up in Kelso, over in Pendleton, 58. And we had 70s down the Umpqua Valley. Roseburg hit 71. Okay, outside right now, it's beautiful. We're looking at 55 degrees tomorrow with the rain and wind increasing tomorrow night. It's going to be rainy for that Timbers game. And don't forget, spring forward, set those clocks ahead on Sundays. We'll go back to daylight saving time. Monday, Tuesday look wet as well. I think it's going to be a little bit rainy on Wednesday, perhaps a break on St. Patrick's Day.
Matt, thank you. With the homeless crisis pushing beyond the city, Portland's suburbs are struggling to deal with that challenge. Beaverton's mayor says the city has the highest number of teens without homes in the state. Christelle Coomway was there today as the mayor toured a shelter in Multnomah County. Christelle?
So the Laura Wood Center is a shelter in Southeast Portland for women and couples.
This girl's voice really bothers me.
Its own year-round shelter. They're looking to Multnomah County for lessons learned. Beaverton's mayor and Washington County Commissioner toured the center this morning. It's funded by Multnomah County and run by a nonprofit. The shelter has 120 beds and works to transition people to permanent housing. Right now, Beaverton only has one winter shelter.
We have a safe park program in our community. The average person in that is a 70-year-old woman. Beaverton also has a very sad statistic of the highest rate of teens experiencing homelessness in the state. So we know our issue is around our elderly and our young people, and so we're coming together to look at a way to bridge those two models and open a shelter.
Beaverton has not yet released any information about where this shelter will be. They plan to operate it with the help from Washington County. And there is funding on the way. Beaverton, along with other cities in Oregon, received $1 million from the legislature to address houselessness as well as lack of affordable housing. Ashley?
Christelle, thank you. Well, there is a growing number of mothers and pregnant women in Oregon facing a personal crisis, whether it's homelessness, trauma, or addiction. Advocates say more needs to be done to help. That story after the break.
KGW Weather is sponsored by the completely redesigned Chevy Traverse.
This is my grandma, and I'm protective of her. With all the information that's out there, you don't know what's true, what's false, which headlines to believe, and it's hard. That's why I trust KGW.
We were listening to Eric Thomas earlier on YouTube. Right now we're listening to KGW News from Portland, Oregon.
I can take the knowledge that I learned and protect the ones that I love.
Now checking my farm, these chickens will be hatched in 1 minute and 4 seconds. And I'm level 32.
Any first item removed? Just $89.
Nourishment is at the heart of everything we do. At Pacific Foods, we believe that
hello to the
everyone
replay
deserves
viewers.
access to delicious, healthy meals. We're out to nourish and inspire everybody. At the peak of the pandemic, as many as 1 in 4 Oregonians faced hunger.
The mask mandate in Oregon is dropping at
the increased need. That's why we're
11:59 p.m. You can still wear a mask if you want. You still have to wear it in a healthcare facility or businesses that choose to require it, or on TriMet until April 18th when the federal mandate that was extended till April 18th ends for planes and trains and buses, streetcars, light rail. Alright, let me see if this chicken is going to hatch. What No, wait a minute. That's the wrong chicken. There's that chicken, all right. But do we want to raise it again, or do we need a white chicken? Let's look. All right. I need $2 million to buy another chicken. Order. Blue chicken, pink chicken, which I don't have. So I guess I'll just raise a yellow chicken, because it's the highest chicken in the farm game on Uplive. I need 200,000. Wait, I thought I need 2 million to buy the next one. Yeah, I need 2 million to buy the next chicken.
To your home and foundation needs to be stopped before it's too late.
All right, let me look. 8 minutes till that gift is ready. Let's check this farm.
Yourself unclogging them any longer. Call now to get a free installation and no interest.
2 hours.
1 full year. Gutter Shutter, the last gutter system your home will ever need.
1 hour.
When your home feels clean and happy.
The people on the side clean and happy.
Become friends and chat it up.
We make junk disappear.
Fine. I'll become friends.
Any first item removed? Just $89.
We are taking a closer look today at the challenges some moms are facing after 2 upsetting cases this week. The first in Portland, where a woman gave birth on a downtown sidewalk and then left the newborn behind. The second happened near Eugene, where a mother died of an overdose in a hotel. Her 6-month-old was left in the room alone for days. Alma McCarty talked with an advocate about these troubling situations.
Wednesday morning, first responders arrived in downtown Portland at what they called an unusual scene.
A woman had just given birth on the corner and was walking away from where she gave birth, like on the sidewalk.
Medics told police the baby was already in the ambulance and appeared healthy. Officer Nathan Kirby-Gladkowski describes when he found the mother moments later.
Being or somebody that was experiencing some pretty serious mental crisis, had a lot of concern about her safety and making sure that we got her to a place to get a medical assessment and get her the help that she needed. The sidewalk at Southwest 13th and Market is no place to deliver a baby alone.
Earlier this week in Springfield, another distressing case of a baby boy found alone in a hotel room. Police said his mother was found dead just feet from her son after overdosing on heroin 4 days earlier. 6-month-old airlifted to the hospital.
It's obviously so sad.
Katie O'Brien, executive director of Rosehaven, says it's not uncommon for mothers in crisis, grappling with addiction and experiencing homelessness, to slip through the cracks.
Not everyone's pregnant, but everybody is struggling with mental and physical wellness. There's so many barriers for people in accessing services.
Even with all the tools at her fingertips, this advocate says she's found it difficult at times to find care for some of the women who walk through these doors.
So it's this whole cycle that just sort of spins around, and then we end up with just really horrific results that we've seen, just this last couple of days.
She says there's a real need for more low-barrier and women-focused shelters like Rosehaven, and for more mental health services across the board. And she says it's also a matter of trust.
If we can help kind of bridge those relationships more and make people more comfortable in seeking care for themselves and care for their children, that's likely to extend itself beyond our walls.
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Multnomah County does have a crisis line that people can call to get help. It's on your screen. The number is 503-988-4888. It's staffed 24/7, and for anyone experiencing distress, can call in, or for people looking to get help for someone else, it's available. And now at 4:30, here are some of your national headlines today. Former National Security Advisor Michael
Flynn I'm going to go. Bye.
testified before the committee investigating the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. The committee asked Flynn about a meeting where then